Hi everybody, hope you're well. Welcome back. Now, back in 2014, when we first purchased our caravan, literally just over there, we also purchased a awning, and it was a Camper Rally Pro 390. We bought it all at the same time. Air awnings had just come out on the market and we thought it was a good investment. We didn't get on with it. I never really liked it. It never went up correctly. The poles always went up at odd angles. The roof was always sloppy. It didn't work for us. I famously threw it away. Well, actually put it in the garage, but actually my dad still uses it now and he's been using it ever since we haven't been using it. In fact, it was used just a few weeks ago. Anyway, since then, 10 years have passed and a lot of research and development has gone into air awnings. In fact, they're the most popular type of awnings that you can purchase today. And today, well, I'm joined with Dometic, formerly Camper, although they do still exist. And they're going to show off to me the brand new product for 2025, the Rally Air Tour. So why don't we have a chat with Rich and find out more about this product. It was fun putting this up this morning, and I must say, it looks really nice.
Thank you.
We need to discuss the difference in colour. It is completely different to anything that you've done before.
It is. With Camper and now Dometic, we've had the same colour aesthetics look for the last nearly 10 years now. And we spent a long time looking at trends, market trends, and particularly what the RV manufacturers are doing in terms of colouring, and we wanted to match the look of the RVs. So hence the change to the block grey colours,
yeah,
which most RVs are coming out with nowadays.
The thing I've noticed immediately, since you have dressed it and made it look beautiful, the thing I've noticed is just how very bright it is in here. And I'm used to the current awnings and canopies that I have at the moment. I'm used to a very dark roof space, and this is a complete change. Now, what is the actual fabric itself?
So this is a 300D polyester, as most good quality caravan awnings are made from, but we've also put a ripstop into the material. So hence the little squares you can see in the fabric. That is a ripstop, a true ripstop material, which provides strength and durability to the already premium fabric that we use. An awning is somewhere you live, it's not somewhere you sleep. We wanted to make a light, airy, nice place to be enjoying your holiday in.
I mean, I want to talk about the fabric just briefly there, because I've had an awning in the past which was a similar colour to this, quite light.
Okay. And
within 2 seasons, it turned pink.
Okay.
So obviously people are going to look at this and they're going to think, well, okay, yeah, I've had an awning of similar quality and similar colour schemes. Is there any danger of this fading over the next 3-4 years?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things we wanted to work on was the fact that actually awnings traditionally are in pure sunshine, hopefully. There is a new dyeing process coming out. It's already in the textile industry, but not so much in the tent and awning business, which is called dope dyeing, or some people call it solution dyeing. And it's the dyeing process before fibre dyeing. It's called pellet dyeing. So the dye is actually ingrained into the fibres that make this material. It doesn't fade.
Now, earlier on, when you guys were setting up, I was having a chat with one of your colleagues, and he gave me a fantastic analogy about the difference in this fabric. And he compared it between a radish and a carrot. Just explain that analogy, because it's great.
It is. It's a really good worldly analogy. If you think of if you cut open a radish, and on the outside you have that red skin, but inside it's white.
Yeah.
A carrot, you cut a carrot in half, and it's orange all the way through. That's like the fibres we use.
Yeah.
The colour is ingrained all the way through that round fibre, all the way to the core.
So I just want to talk specifically about this awning. It's a 330, which is 330 centimetres wide.
Correct.
Okay, great. And this one specifically is a pre-production model.
Yes.
I want to talk about this one specifically. So I think let's go outside and we can actually see the awning in the background.
Okay.
Now, you said, was it you, somebody said this is the same colour as your previous awnings? Roof.
The roof of the previous awnings that we did was the same colour.
Okay.
But one of the things we've done is, because we've worked on block colours, like we were talking about matching the new colourways and trends coming through from RVs,
yeah,
the roof, although it's the same colour, we've removed the highlight sleeve colour on the tubes. we don't need to talk about the fact that we're inflatable anymore. So we've removed it, so actually it makes the whole roof one same colour.
I mean, I've looked inside the current Dometic models in the showroom
Yes.
here, and it is wildly different out here. Obviously, inside, outside, I know, but no, the roof does look very different. The biggest fear I've got is that I'm going to park this on a campsite under a tree or near a tree, and there's going to be all sorts of things getting splashed onto it, either sap from the trees, bird lime, food from cooking outside, kids in the mud and dogs and what have you, ever else. Yeah. I'm paranoid about keeping an awning clean. So how easy is this going to keep clean?
Part of the new fabric is the fact that it has more of a nicer feel to the outside, but it's also a more rubberized texture on the outside. It feels more rubberized, but that is a white clean surface. So it's much easier to clean nowadays.
So it look, I mean, with this ripstop pattern in it,
yeah,
it looks like it should have some texture to it, but there is no texture to it at all.
No, because the ripstop is actually ingrained into the fabric.
Right.
Some ripstops are on the outside and they would catch all that dirt and lime and mud.
Yeah.
This is smooth. We talked inside about the dope dyeing process that we're using in this new fabric. That has a water saving value of around about 80% that we save in water usage to make the dope dye, but it also has a natural energy saving to that as well.
Okay.
So although that has no benefit to the consumer, it has a bit of peace of mind for them.
That's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because it has no benefit to me whatsoever, but in the back of my mind, it gives me peace of mind that I'm buying a product which is more sustainable.
In the manufacturing process.
In the manufacturing process.
Correct.
That's interesting. Great. Now let's get on and let's talk about the arguments, which always happen when these things go up.
Great.
So look, I want to talk about how this thing went up earlier on, but specifically, I want to talk about my experiences of the camper that we had way back in 2014. And when we had that awning, it was our very first awning we ever bought. Yeah. The poles were curved, single point inflation, fantastic. But whenever we put the ruddy thing up, it would never go up straight. Okay. And the roof panels would be saggy. When it rained, typically being British weather, it would sag the roof linings and it just made for a really unhappy awning experience. Okay. But I noticed when this went up earlier on today, it's a very different construction type. And it's worlds away from the awning that I used to have. Yeah,
it's a completely different shape. You can see the differences from those 2014 models. You can see the more upright front, the legs stand more upright. There's a dual pitch point in the roof where the roof has sort of an angle in it, and that allows for water to run off much easier, much nicer. There's apex ventilation in the corners now, which naturally opens to allow more airflow through the awning, which helps to reduce condensation.
Now, there's a couple of things I noticed when you were putting this thing up. There's a couple of pegging points here which are very different to the one I had way back when. So tell me about what's going on with these orange tabs.
Okay, so they are part of the DNA of the camper awnings and now the Dometic awnings. There used to be the blue triangle. Okay. For 2025, we're changing it to an orange triangle, but it's still a highlight point.
Why are you changing it to orange? What's wrong with
orange
blue?
is a highlight colour within Dometic.
Okay.
It's a highlight colour. Sure. But it's a very important part of the construction of the awning. So you need to pull and peg that in the very first throws of putting the awning up, because what it actually does is pulls the middle front tube more upright, straighter, and actually allows the roof to stand taller to allow the water to run off better.
So let me just go through the routine that you went through when we were putting this up. It was put up into the rail, and the back two corners were pegged out.
Naturally.
Then you checked all the valves, put the panels back in and inflated the awning.
Yes.
Then you peg out the front two corners.
Correct.
And it was at that point you then
did the orange triangles.
Right,
exactly, because that dictates the squareness and pulls the front middle leg in square, so that you then have a square shape and a straight shape, which then alleviates some of the problems you had back in 2014 about the shape and the straightness of the edges.
Sure, sure. Now I know you do this all day long for a living, but I must say it's incredibly straight. It's incredibly taut down the sides here. And one of the things that I noticed that you were able to put quite a lot of tension into this fabric.
Yes. Another benefit of this new fabric is there is a bit of natural stretch to it. So actually you can put a lot more tension into the pegging points and it pulls the fabric straighter and cleaner and just looks nicer.
It does, it does. Right, so before we move on and talk about some of the anti-air awning brigade and some of the things that they always highlight, talk to me about the straps here, which used to be luminous yellow on previous awning.
They're called quick pitch straps, but they are just really easy to use. They are a predetermined length, so you peg in the point and you just pull it tight.
I did notice that they really did add a lot of tension to the side once they were up, specifically because they had tension to waist height.
Correct.
Which is my other point, is that I noticed that waist height, are the windows different?
Yeah, the windows are different. Yeah, we've made the windows bigger. We
Okay.
talked about making it more airy inside, and the windows are part of that.
I noticed inside that they had some details on the windows in the years gone by where they had like a bar across the windows.
Correct. We've removed that. We just wanted to make one big unobstructed view out. The whole window shape is bigger, larger. We have changed the curtains as well. One of the pain points in the feedback we received when we were doing the research for these new awnings is the curtains were always a pain point for the consumer. So the curtain material now is thicker. It's made with a cotton mix in there now, whereas they used to be a straight polyester. So they're thicker, they're darker, they keep the light out,
Yep.
and also stop any silhouetting coming in. But also we've changed the rail that they sit on as well, so it's a much smoother rail. We wanted to create more of a home from home feel.
I've always been a fan of removable curtains, actually, because it means that it's something else that, you know, it always gets covered in food or you know, muck or something or other, you know.
And they're washable, so you can put them in the washing machine.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, they're washable, and it's amazing what a difference a clean set of awning curtains makes inside the awning. So I've always been a fan of removable curtains.
Yeah, good.
So one of the things that lots of people mention about air awnings is I camp on a uneven pitch. This obviously is not really very good for uneven pitches.
No, actually, one of the things that the other differences that we do is we have something called a height adjustment system. So whilst this means that this awning can be used for caravan and motorhome, actually one of the best benefits is on an uneven ground is you can adjust the height on one or the other side to level your awning up on uneven ground.
Right, okay.
It works superbly. It's just a couple of zips just to adjust them to make it sit nice.
Another thing that we always worry about when talking about air awnings is how much pressure and how much air you should pump into the air awnings, because obviously every air awning bursts and every air awning falls apart and deflates, etc. So what is the truth about inflating an air awning?
Air is here to stay. Air has proven itself over the years that it's reliable and good. With Dometic awnings, we pump to 9 psi.
Okay.
But our tubes are all tested to 22 psi. Okay, so there's a massive expansion there. Depending on whether the sun decides to come out or not, you can rely on the fact that our tubes are proven to be good and have enough expansion in them.
So is it true that in hot weather you should put less air into it?
On the gauge of the pump that comes with it, the manual pump, there's a gauge at the top and it has a green zone. And that zone goes from 7 psi to 10 psi. We're aiming for 9, always 9, it doesn't matter, always 9. But for peace of mind, you can go to 7, which is still in the green zone. It's just watching that zone on the pump, which only appears on the downward stroke.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
But it's on the pump, you can manage it then.
Excellent. Okay, so it's gone up, it's inflated, we've got the right pressure, is at the right height, fine. The other thing that I've got to talk about is condensation. Are air awnings more susceptible to condensation?
It's not about air awnings, it's about polyester.
Right.
Polyester is a non-breathable fabric.
Okay.
So therefore it will contain moisture from the ground, moisture from you, moisture from the vents in the van.
Yeah.
Moisture comes from everywhere, dogs, pets, anything. So you need to manage that condensation. Lots of ventilation. So hence why we have the apex ventilation, which is automatically opens when you put the awning up. But the more ventilation you can give it, the more mesh panels you can have open, the less condensation you'll have inside.
Great.
Maybe another tip is to put down a non-breathable ground sheet down on the ground. Stops the ground breathing.
I'm going to borrow one of the production awnings in the spring of next year. We're going to really go through the awning, see if it works for us, see what the claims are, whether they're true, whether it is in fact a premium product. We're going to borrow one, see what we think of it, and then I'll give you a review, a user review at the end of our time with it. So if you've got any comments or questions about this awning, put them in the comments down below. Between now and us borrowing it, if you want to know more information about this specific awning, well, it's going to be on show at the NEC in October. So why not go and have a chat with the team at Dometic, ask them any questions, have a look at it yourself and see what your thoughts are. But I think you'll agree if I just stand back whilst Alan and Jack take all the food out which I'm going to be taking in a minute. You must agree, in the sun there, it looks really lovely. Right, and that's it from me today. Many thanks for watching, everybody. Like I said before, please do add any comments or questions that you have about this awning in the comments section down below. A huge thank you to Swindon Caravan Group for allowing us to film here today, and a huge thank you for Dometic for popping up and sharing with me the new awning today. Many thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.